Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hello, I'm Kerry L. Watt and welcome to the show. I was reading recently on USA Today that when we're traveling, it's a good idea to sign up to as many travel reward programs, while you're racking up the airline miles and hotel points. But interestingly, they also said that with regards to the health side of traveling, that preparation and checklists and listing your health priorities while you're away is also really key. And Women's Health magazine said that when it comes to traveling, our healthy intentions are bound to disappear. And the magazine actually did a survey of flyers, and they found that people were consuming a whopping 3,400 calories between check-in and landing. And the New York Times reported that it's extra important to be vigilant around your health when you're on the road. So my guest today has some fascinating insight into staying healthy in mind, body, and soul as well while traveling. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. So please welcome Kimberly Keller to the show. Welcome, Kimberly.
Hi, Carrie. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I'm so excited to share with you guys today.
Yay! Well, I'm really excited to have you here. So let's get back to that statistic. I thought this was really interesting, of over 3,000 calories being consumed between check-in and landing. Does that surprise you at all?
It does not surprise me at all. If you're in an airport, just look around and see what your food options are. I mean, you'll have the fried chicken place in one corner, the burger place in another, and maybe some Chinese food behind you. So it doesn't surprise me at all. And when traveling, people get stressed and they'll grab whatever is close to them. And they're really hungry, they'll grab that burger. Or even if they're really healthy eaters, even if it's in your routine where you're eating really healthy every day, you travel, things are a little bit different, right? So when in Rome, people say when in Rome. However, I have some tips for that. So there's ways around eating where you can eat healthy when traveling.
Yeah, and I guess mindset comes into it a lot, because we do kind of think, oh, well, I'm away, it doesn't matter. Or like you said, even if you are really health conscious, you still go, oh, well, I'm traveling. Whereas you can actually continue your healthy lifestyle when you're away, can't you?
Yeah, right. I mean, it seems like a legitimate excuse, doesn't it? To say, oh, I should try the local food, or I'm only here in Rome once. So it just kind of gives us that excuse. But if you're a regular traveler, if you're a business traveler and you're doing this all the time, you don't want to be eating in the airports. You want to try to stick with that healthy meal plan that you work so hard to have at home.
Right. And what would you say is the biggest misconception or myth about our health when we're away traveling?
Well, I think people tend to believe that when they're traveling that, or they'll say like, oh, I'm walking a lot, or I'm moving around a lot, and so it doesn't matter. I'm just gonna do this, eat this meal here because I have to try this food. Or I really feel like people have the tendency to just make excuses, And one of the things that I have dealt with over and over again with clients is people they'll come back and they're like, I don't understand why I've gained so much weight. I only ate a couple burgers. I mean, it's a bag of chips. So the thing is, when you walk into that little market and you see fat-free, gluten-free, low calories, it's still a packaged item. So you're thinking about, the marketing that goes into those products, and maybe it looks healthy because it says on the bag it's healthy. But in all truth, if it's not pure and it's not natural and it's packaged, think about where that's been and think about the ingredients that have gone into that. So you really have to look on the back of the bags and look at the ingredients. And when you're traveling, look at the salts, look at the sodium, because that's really a big deal when you're traveling, because you can get really inflamed. And so paying attention to what's on the label when you're in the little markets or little stores in the airports is really important.
That's a great tip, actually. And it's funny, when I look back on my traveling, like certainly for work purposes, I remember like when I was younger and we'd be, running events all around the country on a big road shows, and we would literally just in groups like sit in hotel rooms because we couldn't afford to go out to restaurants. So we would literally just sit in our room and eat anything that could be made with a kettle or a microwave. And it's like, oh my goodness, like no wonder we were all always so tired and like grumpy, and it really affects your general well-being, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's important to try to maintain as much of your routine that you have at home when you're traveling. Because for one, your body is used to that, right? So you're going to put your body into shock, which is going to do what? It's going to stress it out. So a lot of times, naturally traveling, even though it's very exciting, we're walking around a foreign airport, or you're still in kind of a fight or flight mode because you're stressed out. You're looking around. You're like, oh my gosh, what gate am I supposed to go to? Or I can't read that sign. I don't speak Spanish. So you automatically go into this fight or flight mode and release cortisol levels. Just from stress alone. So we want to do everything else that we can control when we're traveling. And part of that is food. A huge part of that is food.
And what led you to go into lifestyle wellness and travel, Kimberly?
I'm an avid traveler. I love traveling. So, I just kind of took a little bit of everything in my background. I've worked for airlines in the past. I've owned restaurants in the past, and I'm a certified fitness instructor and a personal trainer, and also I have a certification in nutrition and meal planning. So with all of those together, I would train people, and I would create these travel itineraries for them, because I am no excuses. Like, you cannot come to me with an excuse, because I will have an answer for you. So my clients would walk in and like, well, I was traveling. And I'm like, and, what does that mean? I've traveled. And so let's talk about it. So I would do this with my clients. I would put them on a program when they were traveling, and it was very successful. So I just decided one day I was going to combine all of my passions, and came up with this flow program. And it really works. And I'm very excited to share it.
Yeah. Could you tell us a little bit more about the flow system, the program for us?
Yes, absolutely. So flow is a system that I created. It's an acronym for F for fit, L for lean, O for oxygen and breath work, and W for wherever meditation. So it basically was inspired by my previous principles and philosophy that I've studied over the past few decades of my life. So it comes from a lot of experience.
And it sounds incredible. And I was lucky enough to kind of get a little insider look at the flow system, and I just thought it was really incredible. Especially the wherever meditation. I was like, oh, I love that. Yeah, like, because it's not necessarily about being in a class somewhere, or like you literally just do it in your hotel room, just anywhere, can't you? It is that wherever.
It is wherever. Meditation, I would say, has been misconceived for a very long time. A lot of times when people think about meditation, they'll think about some guru in India, trying not to swat the flies away.
That was definitely how I used to see it. Yeah.
But it's really not. Meditation is just relaxing your mind, reducing your stress, keeping your mind flow in just open and free. And so there's a lot of different ways to do that. You could bring a candle with you in your suitcase and light it in your hotel room and just stare at the flame. And that's called a candle meditation. You can do a walking meditation where you're just out in nature or walking through the trees, just pay attention to the butterfly that lands on the branch. Or stop and literally smell the flowers, because when you add in your smell sense, it automatically relaxes you, and it triggers a part of the brain, the hippocampus, that can, relax you. And so there are so many different ways. Breath work is a type of meditation. Mantra, if you come up with a mantra, you know what stresses you out. And when you work with me as a coach, we come up with those things together. So if there's something that you're feeling over and over again, like, oh, I really don't like taking trains and I can't figure out why. We'll come up with a mantra so that before you get on the plane or the train the night before, you can say this to yourself. And in the morning of, you can say this to yourself. And it really relaxes the mind. So there are so many different types of meditations. I wouldn't even know where to start, but those are just a few.
Yeah, I love those. And I really loved what you just said about going for a walk in nature and just really appreciating everything that happens. And that's beautiful. Like, I actually do that sometimes. I go for a walk. I live in the New Forest in the UK. So I regularly think, oh my gosh, I'm so stressed out. I'm going to switch my phone off and I'm going to go to the forest. So that's really good to know that is actually a good thing.
It's actually a type of meditation. Yeah. I mean, you're good at, think about the energy that you're getting just from how you feel when you walk through and connect with nature. It's such an important part of our being here. We are connected to nature. So we tend to forget that. We go through the concrete jungle on a daily basis and we tend to forget to take a breath, to slow down, to notice what's around us, because it really is amazing. And we realize there's something bigger than us, right? Like, it's just very cool. And, if you're traveling to the sea, just being by the ocean, you think about, there's actually sound machines that recreate the sound of the waves, the sound of the ocean. And so, that's a meditation, just sitting, closing your eyes and listening. And one of my favorite ways to do meditation is guided meditations. They're on just about every audio app. They're on YouTube. They're on Spotify. Every audio app that you can think of. If you click and type in meditation, there's going to be a bunch of meditations that come up, and all you do is sit and listen. You could do that during your flight or your train ride or your car ride. It's amazing.
They are incredible, aren't they? I actually do that. And I have a few favorite people that I listen to on YouTube, but no matter what mood you're feeling, they're just brilliant, aren't they? Whether you need it to relax or sleep or to let go of something bad that happened that day, maybe you're annoyed with someone or something, or yourself. They're just great, aren't they? No matter what mood you're in.
Oh, they're amazing. And it can take literally just a couple of minutes. That's the great part about all of the meditations or the ideas in my book, is they're really simple to use. People, they don't want to spend all their time when they're traveling, sitting and meditating. So if you have somewhere to be, a lot of times people, even if they're traveling for fun, they have itineraries, right? Like, oh, we have to be at the museum and now we're going to try this restaurant, and, you're constantly moving. And so you just want to be able to have a program that's going to take just a few minutes to release some cortisol, to release some stress, and bring you back to your natural state of health.
Yeah. And I know myself that just being alone is huge. Like, I remember when I used to travel for work, and when I've been away with people, I always, not necessarily on paper, but in my head, schedule some me time. Like, would you say that's quite an important thing to do as well?
Oh, yes, it definitely is. Even if it means saying, excuse me, and just going to the restroom, right? So I think that just wherever you can find that time, find it in, if you're sharing a hotel room, then take a walk down to the lobby. Just take a walk through the hotel. Maybe if it's a historic hotel, just walk through the hotel and really take notice to why is it such great history? Who's been here? Just connecting with, maybe there's been a famous author or something, and there's a photo or a panel. We don't even notice those things when we're traveling, So just take a minute to just take in the presence of the people that have been where you are. If you're, a hotel, or you're in a city, that you can think about that and connect with the greatness of where you are. I mean, just whatever makes you feel happy.
Yeah, and it's so individual, isn't it?
It is. It's so unique to everybody. People just find, that's why I try to give a variety of different things to do. Somebody they want to do some breath work, or they want to, do a little om. Maybe they do have some experience with meditation. And so there's lots of different ways to be able to calm that mind and release the cortisol. I mean, one thing that I talk about is that if you are breathing properly, and a lot of people don't know this, that if you're breathing properly, your body cannot hold on to stress. It's incapable of holding on to stress if you're breathing properly. So that's a pretty amazing thought. Just think about that. Like all day long, we're taking half breaths, just quick ones. But if you're taking a deep breath in that your body responds to, the stress is released, the cortisol levels go down, and this was scientifically proven.
Wow, that is incredible. It's so good. Like, I'm the kind of person where people can tell me stuff, but I like the science to back it up. Like, so I've always known that kind of, you hear that breathing is good and there's different ways of doing it, but actually just to hear you explain it like that is just wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, oxygen, breath work, it's so important to your relaxation and taking care of yourself. As you said, like finding that solo time. If you think about when you're on a flight and they're telling you, hey, if there's an emergency and you have a child, make sure you grab the oxygen mask for yourself first. I mean, a lot of parents, when they hear that, like, no, of course I want to grab it for my child first, right? But you have to be strong and you have to be healthy in order to help somebody else or to do your job or, just to enjoy your vacation and have the energy that you want to have to do the things you want to do. Do you ever notice that sometimes you get home and you're like, oh, I need a vacation from this vacation.
Yeah.
I need a holiday from this holiday, right? So it's because you've worn yourself out and you're not giving your body the nutrients that it needs. But if you just take a minute for yourself every day when you're traveling, maybe a couple minutes in the morning, one or two throughout the day, just taking deep breaths if you're feeling stress and recognizing your thought process and paying attention to your thoughts that you have when you're traveling. Oh my gosh, why am I stressed out? I should be having a good time. Or going into that meeting, that big meeting that you've been waiting and now you've traveled all the way to Asia for, and you're feeling really stressed out. Well, just take a second to breathe properly. Just take a second. You can reduce all that stress before you walk into that meeting. Will be completely different outcome.
That's amazing. That's just so beautifully said, Kimberly. Thank you. Now, sorry.
Go ahead. No, it's just simple, right? But we don't think about it.
Exactly. And I have to say, sometimes, before a really important call, or I don't know, maybe I'm going on stage, or it's like something that kind of I can feel the anxiety in my body, and I do try and take a deep breath. But I think actually the way that you just explained it, to really sort of take a moment and properly focus on that and the breathing and things, I'm certain that would help.
Yeah, and just remember, it's not just like a fluke. This is breath work has been practiced for centuries to release stress and calm people. It's just that nowadays it seems to be a way people have accepted it. Oh, it's just how life is. We're just busy, so it doesn't have to be that way. We physiologically are created so that if we're breathing properly, we cannot hold on to the cortisol or the stress. So it's part of a meditation that I do is just listening to your breath, just paying attention to your breath. Even if it's 3, 4, 5 breaths that you have time for, just listen and think inhale and think exhale. It's amazing, but it relaxes your mind, because if you're kind of saying to yourself, inhale, exhale, that's all you have time to think about. So you're actually releasing all those crazy thoughts that are going on. So, just taking a second to even do that for 3 breaths is going to change things for how you feel that day.
And I guess that's really relevant for when you are traveling, certainly with work, because you've usually done that for a purpose, whether, like you say, it's that big meeting or it's a presentation, or there's usually a purpose that potentially you could be nervous or anxious about. So that's actually a really great tip, isn't it?
It is. It's something you could do, really quickly too, and it's free.
That's true.
You don't have to spend thousands of dollars at the spa. Your body is actually created. It has the tools that you need to reduce the stress. It's amazing.
Dorothy and her ruby slippers, right? We've got the power the whole time.
It's true. Yes, I love that scene. It's one of my favorites.
It's the best.
Slippers. Everybody needs a pair of those.
Now, I know that you believe an important practice that you can integrate easily into your travel and that can be done anywhere as well as the breathing is yoga. So I wondered if you could talk to us about the benefits of doing yoga while you're away traveling as well.
Oh, yoga is just amazing. It's so much simpler to do than you think it is. First of all, there's also a ton of videos that you can find on YouTube for free. You can download a yoga app and just follow along, but there's just the breathing, the stretching, and the core work and the muscle work. Think about how tight your body feels when you're traveling, whether you've sat on a plane for 12 hours or you're on a train for, just 2 or 3 hours. Your muscles, if you're not moving, tend to tighten up and your body gets tense. And so what's a great thing to do right in your hotel room? You don't really need a mat. You don't really need anything. You can just follow along for like a 5-minute yoga session and do some breath work and some stretches, and you're going to feel like a completely new person.
And can you tell us what led you to start your own business as well?
You know what? I've actually been an entrepreneur most of my life. So I've been very lucky. I mean, I take jobs here and there. Like I worked for an airline because I like to travel. And I have worked for other people to learn, usually as an apprentice, to learn something new or a new trade. But for the most part, I have been working for myself as an entrepreneur since I was in my early 20s, which, was just a couple of years ago. But yeah, I love it. I mean, I like to have control of my time. Also, I have 3 children. And for me, it was kind of, I needed to work. It was just innate. I like to contribute to society in a way where I'm, able to balance what I have going on at home, still feel like a good mom, right? Still feel like I can have that meal on the table and be able to go to work with clients and helping people. So it's, for me, I started getting into fitness a while ago, and probably over 25 years ago. I had a studio in Switzerland. I lived in Switzerland for about 7 years, and I absolutely loved it. And then, got married, had kids, and kind of started doing that mom thing, and I had no time for myself. And honestly, my time for myself became like, oh, I'm going to go back to work. I'm going to have
for a break.
For a break. I need to talk to big people. So these little midgets are great, but I need to talk to, like people that can carry on a conversation and that aren't like asking me to do all these things for them all day long. So it also gives me a sense of, I'm contributing to what feels good inside me, and I'm paying attention to my own drive and what makes me happy. And that's what makes me happy. So I love being an entrepreneur. I don't think I could, do my life any other way. And I have a laptop lifestyle, and you can't beat that.
No, in my opinion, you can't.
No, you can't beat that. I mean, especially if you love to travel, and I'm an avid traveler. I have a whole list of places that I love to go to and places that I've been. So this allows me to do that. Now, you guys are over in the UK. You get normally like 4 or 5 weeks vacation. Is that about?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So in the US, we get maybe a week to start in the jobs here. And if you're lucky, after maybe 3 years, you'll get 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah. So in my opinion, I didn't have a choice.
Yeah, see, that always fascinates me where with different things. And like, we're always moaning over here. We're like, we've only got 4 or 5 weeks holiday a year. And I'm like, well, I mean, just like speechless. It's like, well, people have less. But I'm with you. I just think it's incredible that we can nowadays, create this lifestyle that does fit around, a business and family and all that kind of thing. It's just incredible, isn't it?
It is. And you can really, my father always told me growing up, whatever you want to do, you just put your mind to and it will happen. Just put your mind to it. It's that simple. It's manifesting your best day, manifesting your successful meeting, manifesting that you can close that deal, manifesting that you have the energy for the fitness that you want to do when you arrive. And as far as like the fitness part for the flow program, it's simple. So when you get to your hotel, actually there are studies that have proved as well that fitness or walking right after you arrive somewhere decreases jet lag. So instead of, no matter what time of day it is, if you just get in your hotel room, drop everything and go for a walk, it's going to help you with your jet lag tremendously. So, the thought of, oh, I've got to, go to the gym. I need to get a pass from the concierge to go to the gym. And it's just such a pain. I'm going to skip it. So how difficult it is to put a pair of walking shoes on, it takes a second. So it's like this, like 30-second rule, right? I always say a 30-second rule. It's also a way to justify laziness, if you will. Make it easy for yourself. Make everything easy for yourself. Don't overthink it. It's not that difficult. So for fitness, just grab a pair of walking shoes. Walking counts as fitness. It's getting out there, and if it reduces your jet lag, why not?
Absolutely. And what is your number one piece of advice to transform listeners' travel experiences?
Oh, be prepared. I mean, I have to say, just be prepared before you travel somewhere. Think about what the schedule might be when you're there. Think about what you might need to take with you so that you're not eating at the airports. So pack something, like some sliced carrots in the bag, or some cucumbers, or, something that you enjoy eating. That's all natural, low fat, and will give you energy. So I have to say, one thing that I never leave home without is magnesium. Magnesium it's something easy to pack. It helps with your sleep levels. It helps with your blood sugar. It helps to keep you focused mentally. There's so many traits that magnesium has for our health and wellness. And that's my one thing that I will never leave home without.
Amazing. I had no idea about that. So that is really, really useful. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, it could be like a form of, some people will take melatonin. I just take my magnesium, and I make sure that I have it packed every time. And then I make sure I have my healthy snacks packed. So I'm not starving when I walk through that airport and smell that bacon that they're serving over there in that burger, So I'll grab up my carrots, and it makes me happy and satisfied, It's got that crunch, and I'm not going to go grab that bag of chips. So also kind of fooling your mind is huge when you're eating or snacking. So if you're thinking, like, if you're used to, and you can use this for anything, if you're used to crunch, like, oh, I love the crunch of chips, and that's me. I'm totally talking about myself. I love crunchy. So I pack crunchy, but the healthy version of it. So I pack crunchy carrots, right? So it kind of tricks my mind, and I've got the crunch. I'm satisfied now. And it's a little tool or trick that us trainers use.
I love that. And that's so me as well. I'm just, yeah, when you reach, even when you're at home and it's just boredom, isn't it? So I think, yeah, I try and trick my mind sometimes with carrots as well. I'm like, oh, I'll just sit and eat a carrot. I probably look really random, but I'm like, wow, it's better than put it in a bag of crisps.
It is. And when you think about it, you're gonna feel satisfied. And it has, like, carrots have so many nutritional qualities in them for traveling, like fiber. We all need that when we're traveling. And it's just overall, it's just really healthy for you.
And is there anything that you feel that's really important for people to know that we haven't covered today?
Yes, I say I'm going to come back to that 30-second rule. I feel like what you can do is make a list. Somebody gave me this advice a long time ago, and it really has helped me when I'm traveling. You're going to make a list of like 30 things, and you can do this over a period of time as you start to write things down that take about 30 seconds to transition into, that make you happy, like, that you can do easily when you're traveling. So, for example, I pack I'll pack my favorite tennis shoes so that I will never leave those. I can go for walks easily. I'll grab some books that make me happy to read when I have some downtime, my favorite snacks. So anything that you can do easy that makes you happy, have ready to go, because if you're happy and you're feeling good and energetic, that's what life's about. You want to feel energized so that you have the ability and you feel good when you want to go do everything that you have on your list to do while you're traveling. That's what it's all about. Just staying free and focused. And you can, if you make this list, you can I like to tell people to put it on their iPhone, or if you're a paper person like me, I love writing. You can write it in a book and just kind of carry it with you. And when you're starting to feel stressed out, open your little 30-second list and pick from it. Just pick one thing that makes you happy. Walking in nature, right? You said that makes you happy. So when you arrive somewhere, just say, oh, where's a park nearby? And go walk in nature for a little bit. So it's a great little tool to have. And you can elevate yourself to a better mindset just by doing something you love.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I know just for myself, it's been super helpful and really, really good. So I'm sure listeners feel the same way as well. So thank you so much for being here today. And how can someone that wants to find out more hear about Kimberly Keller and how you can help?
Yes, great. Well, I have a website, and that's Kimberly Keller International, but it's intl.com. I'm also on Instagram. So I post a lot of my fun travels and pictures and quotes on Instagram. And that's also the same, Kimberly Keller, INTL. So I have some, meditations that you can follow. And I will be having, starting November 1st, a 15-day meditation live with me in the morning. So that's quite fun.
Oh, wow.
And you can find that on the website. You'll see that on Instagram. And the first 3 days of that will be free. And so you can just get an idea of, what it feels like. What is it like to have somebody guide you first thing in the morning through a meditation?
Oh, that sounds brilliant. Well, count me in.
Yay.
That sounds brilliant.
Yes, and trust me, it's in the morning, so I look like I just woke up. So it's on Zoom. You can also join with just audio, but it's kind of fun in the morning to have a face to look at while you're doing the meditation, and you feel like you're, really being guided and somebody's holding your hand through it. So it's quite nice.
Well, like I say, thank you so much, Kimberly, for being here today. It's been fascinating. And I am just really excited to, share this. And I can't wait for everyone to put everything into practice that you've shared today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's been such a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Kimberly. And thank you, everyone, for listening. Bye for now.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.